Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Blatstein. I'm a physician, and after more than 30 years in clinical practice, I've transitioned into the medical legal consulting as a physician prison consultant, helping individuals like yourselves prepare for one of the most important and often underestimated stages of the federal criminal sentencing process, the pre-sentence interview. As a licensed physician who has personally experienced federal prosecution, sentencing, and the Bureau of Prisons, I bring both professional expertise and real world insight into this process. The pre sentence interview will significantly impact your sentence, security classification, facility placement, and eligibility for programs that could lead to an earlier release date. Yet many defendants enter this critical stage unprepared. While no one can guarantee what a judge or the Bureau of Prisons will do, careful preparation can help ensure that you are seen as a complete person, not defined solely by the charges against you. If you or a loved one is facing sentencing, call me at 240-888-7778 to learn how I can help. Again, 240-888-7778. Thank you. Today, I'm going to go through, you've been found guilty. What's the most important thing that you have to do? And there's one critical thing. You may not want to think about it. You may be overly depressed. You may be angry, but what you do immediately next is going to impact and change your future for the better or for the worse. And that is beginning to understand that there's a pre-sentence interview upcoming, and it's going to take several months for you to put together all of that information. Some judges at your either conviction at trial or at your plea will give you 3 weeks. It's just not enough time. And hopefully you can work with your attorney to get enough time to properly prepare. And what does that mean of gathering all that information? Because that meeting with your pre-sentence, the probation officer who conducts the pre-sentence interview, they're going to write from the information they get from the interview, they're going to fill out their pre-sentence investigation report worksheet. That's going to then become your pre-sentence report. If you do nothing, then the judge has no other options other than to sentence you based on the information in your indictment, which you probably sound like America's most wanted. It's not very flattering, and the pre-sentence report. So why is this so critical, and why is this time, the amount that you'll have, so important? I am going to, and so this is just a brief overview. First, the court is going, and attorneys know this, they're going to want information from you. And if you don't have enough time, and I spoke with a potential client yesterday who has like 3 weeks, well, just think about how long it's going to take you to, and I marked in red here, identify, find your social security card, your birth certificate. That may not be that easy. A passport, if you have one, you have a driver's license, an ID card. Then, if you're divorced, you need that, the copy of that. If you're married, you need the marriage certificate. You want that. You would need to find your school diplomas, the highest. If you don't, if you're a rocket scientist and you've got your PhD in rocket science, but you don't provide any diplomas, they're going to put you in a place where you have to get your GED. That's crazy. Your birth certificate. If there's a draft card, car registration papers, is it in your name or is it in someone else's name, your wife or significant other? If that's the case, will they be able to also provide you with the insurance information as well as a letter allowing you to drive the car once you're released? Employment verification stubs. You're going to want at least 3 years of your tax returns. Do you have them handy? If there's immigration papers or a passport, if you have your green card, whatever is required, there's probably very important because at this point in our country's history, they're looking to deport everybody. If you're on any sort of military disability, if there's naturalization papers, you need to find them. Proof of residence. You're going to need either rent receipts, if you have a mortgage on your property, etc. Professional papers, social security card, driver's license, any certifications that you have, other licenses that you may have. And then understanding uh, if you have restitution, you're going to have to need to understand the financial responsibility program. And if you have vaccines that you've been taking, you want to have proof of those vaccines if that's important to you. So this is just the bare basic of getting all that information together. You're going to be able to do it in 5 days? I don't know that people can get all of this information organized and accurate in a month or 2 months, let alone 5 days. But now we're going to go into another part, and that is advocating for yourself. How can you influence the probation officer that you're not Jimmy Hoffa or part of America's Most Wanted or a flight risk or just someone who is a lying, individual, and a scammer. This requires putting together, drafting what I have here is a narrative, which is it's your brand. It's who you are. Right now, your narrative, the Justice Department of Justice has written yours for you. It's in the form of your indictment and your charges. But we all have backstories. Nobody wakes out of bed one morning deciding to break the law. And so there needs to be time for you to draft the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of your upbringing from childhood to today. What caused you to do what you did? A release plan. It seems kind of premature. And as of right now, it's actually not required, but it can't hurt to have letters from people saying that they would be willing to hire you once you released. If you have a business and it wasn't related to your charge, well, whoever is running that business when you are not around will be able to give you a letter saying that they're willing to hire you. Seems kind of nutty, but it will help because you'll be allowed to work in that business as long as it had nothing to do with your charge. Character letters. People are busy. If you have people that are willing to write character letters for you, um, either from people that you've known for a long time, maybe you help people in the community, maybe you volunteer in the community, maybe there are people that could write these letters in your behalf, but they need time. They can't drop, what they're doing just to write this for you. If you have medical issues, here's where it gets much longer because it needs if in fact you have a medical file. I'll start with medications. At bare minimum, you and your attorney or someone like myself, feel free to give me a call. I mean, this is what I do. I've had 30 years in patient care, and I've transitioned over working with those who would like to mitigate or just reduce their sentence if that's possible. But you need to understand initially, are the medications you're taking available in the Federal Bureau of Prisons? Because if they're not available, that requires to be part of the pre-sentence interview, getting your doctor involved, but it's not going to keep you from going to prison. That's not going to happen. If you have prosthetics, wear eyeglasses that are not medical devices like CPAPs, you need to get your medical records. Doctors aren't going to stop what you're doing. It can take you a month or so to get through medical records. If you've had surgeries in the surgery center or the hospital, blood tests, lab tests, copies of x-rays, MRI, CAT scans, ultrasound, PET scans, EEG, EKG, all of those, they're not going to be able to get them right away. Some doctors may just be too busy or may be away for a month. And so this is very important because if in fact, let me change that. Regarding medications, a simple example here is there's a gentleman in California. He was on hydrochlorothiazide for high blood pressure. It's a water pill, very cheap. The Bureau of Prison has it. It's a no-brainer as far as what patients take. It's been around a long time. But the intake nurse, where he went, decided to reduce his doses. Then he was having medical problems, so they changed the medication to a completely different type of medication, to lisinopril, which is works differently than hydrochlorothiazide. And so on that note, he wound up getting transient ischemic attacks or many strokes, going to emergency rooms. Eventually, because his record was complete and comprehensive and complete before his pre-sentence report, his judge went nuts. He was angry with the Bureau of Prisons, and so it should be, because he said that this guy had to be released for medical reasons. And when he gives a sentence out to an individual, it's for them to go to prison, do their time. It's not supposed to be a death sentence. They should be able to go home. Continuing here, the administrative remedy process is all part of that compassionate release, except that you need to have learned how to do the administrative remedy process first before you get to compassionate release. Otherwise, no court will accept it. Cash, you can bring cash with you to some facilities. You can also use MoneyGram, Western Union. But but if you have restitution, please understand that they're going to expect you to offer to pay a certain amount every month. Character letters, we went through to a degree. Detainers, if you think you may have unresolved charges or immigration status, if anything is unsure, these need to be resolved before you ever get to your pre-sentence interview. Because if you have that on your record, it may put you into a higher security level, and it may affect your ability to get early release through the First Step Act. Legal papers and medical records, they could be organized and then all this information provided to your probation officer 4 to 10 days before your interview. So they're able to complete their pre-sentence interview workshop. Again, it doesn't take 2, 3, 4 weeks. It can take 2 months or more. And it's very important because these probation officers are overworked, underpaid. They have no time. So don't you think that they'll appreciate the fact that you're giving them everything that they need to fill out their investigation report, because they have supervisors too, that is organized and spell checked, and that you've taken the time to understand that their time is valuable and that you're taking this seriously. You can put together a list of names, including phone numbers and addresses, emails to bring with you so that you can contact them once you're inside. Power of attorney, living will. Most people may not think of that. You want to present, if you're going to a minimal camp, they're either going to be freestanding or they're going to be attached to a higher security facility. Now, the satellite camps, which are at a higher security facility, you have to present. Unfortunately, you can't present to the camp. You have to present or arrive if you're self-surrendering to the higher secure facility. RDAP, are you eligible? If you are eligible, please make sure it's in your judge's order. You want to review everything for completeness. If you have a bipolar, for example, or schizophrenia, there are psychology programs, but they are security level dependent and therefore very limited. So not only can't you get them at every facility, you need to make sure that you have to see if they're at a facility. You can pick a prison, by the way, to make a placement request. And you can start that with the probation officer at the pre-sentence interview. This is because hopefully the officer comes away from the interview with you thinking that you're not such a terrible person. You want to review everything for completeness. Wedding bands you can bring with you, a religious necklace Bible has to be under $100, no stones. If you're driving to surrender, please understand that some of these facilities are in smaller communities, and that even going a couple miles over the speed limit is a no-brainer. You shouldn't do it. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for taking your time to tune into my videos. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a call. I'm a physician. I too have been through the federal system, and I was able to get my medical license reinstated, and I'd like to be able to pass on what I've learned to you. Again, thank you very much for taking the time to listen, and I hope everyone has a safe day.